Hi there, please do take a seat. So congratulations on landing the role here as a creature care specialist. I bet you were over the moon last week when you found out the good news. Perfect. And are you looking forward to working here at the Haunted Hospital? Amazing. Yes, we're definitely in need of an extra set of hands here, particularly during this spooky season. Great, yes, we're very grateful. So, yeah, do you have your identification on you today as well? Perfect, thank you for showing me that. Great, so today we're just going to go through the induction. We're going to lay out some housekeeping rules just to ensure that you are fully aware of all your duties and responsibilities here at the Haunted Hospital. Yeah, if you do have any questions or concerns, just fire them at me and I will be happy to assist. Amazing, amazing. Perfect, so let's proceed then. So, you are aware that your shift pattern is 12 AM midnight until 8 AM in the morning, correct? Yes, that's correct. You will be working Monday to Friday, 12 AM to 8 AM. So it is a night shift, but this is when our patients are at their most vulnerable state. So our duty of care is very necessary to their well-being. Perfect, yes, yes. So at 12 AM, you will be allocated to Ward 4. Ward 4 is where we house the poorly pumpkins. You can imagine at this time of year, a lot of pumpkins are mistreated and damaged in the patches, and that can lead to us being inundated here with new referrals and admissions. Yes, I did note on your resume that you don't have any previous experience working with poorly pumpkins, is that correct? Yeah, that's totally fine because I actually have one with us today that is in need of our help and assistance, and I'm going to demonstrate the process that we take to nurse them back to good health. Are you ready? Okay, perfect, right. So here we have a very poorly pumpkin, and I will show you the signs to look out for. So as you can see, this pumpkin is very distorted. You can see the dints, you can see the unevenness, and the lack of a nice, kind smile, which all pumpkins should have at this time of year, particularly. Yeah, I'm just going to double check with my stethoscope just to see what state the pumpkin is in. Yes, it is as I feared. This pumpkin is in need of desperate help, so we must be quick here. So, the first step is to observe the pumpkin, look for any signs of disfigurement, and then we will need to administer the medicine. This is a highly concentrated medicine, and although it looks like there is nothing in this vial, I can assure you there is a highly specialised treatment in here which can nurse just about any pumpkin back to good health. And here at the Haunted Hospital we have a 99% success rate. Yes, which is great. So I will show you exactly how we administer this solution and detail every step of the process. So we have to ensure that when we first administer this solution, we do it at the tip of the pumpkin. Otherwise it will not work. So that is very important. So we simply place the tip here, making sure that we have firm contact with the pumpkin, and we gently administer the solution, which should take 10 seconds in total. And as you can see, the pumpkin now has been restored to its former glory. Yeah, it's just like magic, but it's not magic, it's medicine. So yeah, the pumpkin now is in a much better state. But you must be aware that these effects only last a maximum of 30 to 40 seconds. Yes, that's correct. So we will need to administer multiple doses until we get a permanent resolution for each individual pumpkin. Good question. So yeah, it takes around 30 to 40 treatments spaced 1 minute apart until we can get the pumpkin back to its former health. We We must ensure that we do not overdose the pumpkin, so we only administer each following dose once the pumpkin has returned to its slightly disfigured state. So yeah, as you can see, this pumpkin now has returned back to its slightly disfigured self, so that's when we would administer a second dose. If we administer a dose too early, it can have deadly consequences for the pumpkin. Unfortunately, there was a situation last year where an overdose was given and the pumpkin exploded all over a hospital bed. Yes, it was a very, very challenging time for all of the creature care specialists, and it still gives me nightmares. Sorry, I just get very emotional because we take the care of these pumpkins and every creature in our hospital very, very seriously. Yeah, so it is of the utmost importance that you do follow all the rules that we have outlined. Yeah, you will be shadowed by a senior creature care specialist, so during your first week you will have guidance and assistance from one of our senior team, just to ensure that you're doing everything correct. Yeah, that is absolutely no worries at all. That's fine. Yeah, any questions or concerns, you can just raise them with your senior specialist and they will be happy to assist. But I'm sure with your previous experience as a creature care specialist, you'll be fine. I know you haven't directly worked with pumpkins before, but they are one of our more easier patients to manage. Yeah, perfect. You're all set? Amazing. Right, I'm going to transfer this one back to Ward 4 now, as it needs some of our attention. I must note as well that you have to treat a minimum of 6 pumpkins per shift. Yeah, so that's because we have a maximum number of pumpkins that we are allowed on the ward at one time, and unfortunately last year we were inundated by a lot of pumpkins and some of them we had to turn away, and of course you probably can gather the outcome of that. Yeah, so we don't want to turn anyone away, so we have to hit the target of 6 per shift, which should be more than easy for you to do. Perfect, great. Yeah, so after you've finished with the poly pumpkins, you will be allocated to Ward 6. So you'll probably start around 2 AM in the morning, and this is where the sickly skeletons are located. Yes, I did note that on your resume you've had some previous experience working with sickly skeletons, so it should be no issue. They are one of our more easier patients to look out for. Basically, we just have to ensure that they are kept in their hospital beds because they are often admitted to us with broken bones, because at this time of year they just like to play practical jokes, and sometimes they're just not fully aware that they don't have any meat or flesh on them anymore, and they can end up falling over and of course breaking or fracturing several bones, so we just need to make sure that they are well rested. Yeah, so first we would do a full examination of the skeleton just to see which bones are broken or fractured. We have access to imaging systems such as MRIs and CT scans if we're not able to make a full diagnosis on visual cues, but most of the time it is pretty obvious. Yeah, it takes 2 hours for the medicine to work and for their bones to be fully healed, and during this time you just have to keep a keen eye on them just to ensure that they are kept in their beds and they're not wandering around, because in the past we did have a situation where one left the bed early and they had broken legs and they got out of the bed, and as soon as they stood up their legs snapped and there was nothing we could do, and that poor skeleton didn't make it through. Sorry. But yes, so just make sure we're keeping a keen eye on all of the skeletons. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a topical solution that you will be administering to the skeletons. Yeah, your senior creature care specialist will show you exactly how it's done, but it will be very similar to the process that you carried out in your last role. Yeah, that's all good then. Yeah, so after you've finished with the skeletons, it should take you to around 4 a.m. and that's when you'll be transferred to Ward 8. So Ward 8 is where the Wailing Witches are kept. Yeah, you've definitely heard of the Wailing Witches. Your experience with them in the past is very impressive. That's kind of what landed you the role during the interview, because they are a very tricky patient, and the fact that you have been able to successfully look after them in the past and nurse them back to good health is very, very impressive. So yeah, I'm sure you will excel here, because we house a maximum of 20 witches on the ward, and I believe at once you managed 30 by yourself. Is that correct? Wow. Yes, so you will be managing 10, and there will be another creature care specialist on the ward at the same time as you, managing the other 10, so this should be no issue for you. But of course, with Wailing Witches, oftentimes they come to us being put under a hex by another fellow witch or wizard. Yeah, it is a very sad situation, but luckily the effects are temporary. So long as they are kept under our care, they should make a full recovery within 2 hours. Yeah, it is just a case of waiting it out, similar to the skeletons. We just have to make sure that if they are in too much distress, we do administer healing herbs. Good question. So we can administer them in a vaporized form, so we can add the solution to boiling water and all the herbs and just have it administered underneath their face and let them inhale the herbs, and this will just relax them. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So it will take 2 hours, like mentioned. Yes, until they are broken free from the hex. Yes, yep, good question. So you will be provided with ear protective muffs just to make sure that you are safe as well, because of course they do wail. That's why they're called Wailing Witches, and it can be quite damaging to one's ears. So we do provide you with the ear protective muffs, which block out 90% of all sound, so you can just hear 10%, just in case any of the witches get too distressed, because of course we don't want them to go into shock, and that's when you would administer the vaporized herbs. Perfect, yeah. Yeah, so that should take you up to 6 a.m, where you'll be then allocated to Ward 12. Yes, Ward 12 is where the Whining Werewolves are housed. Yes, I did note that you don't have any previous experience working with Whining Werewolves, but let me tell you, they're not as scary as they may sound. They are very gentle creatures deep down. They just get very frustrated around this time of year because their coat of fur just grows to uncontrollable lengths during October, and it can be very difficult for them to manage. It often leads to them falling over or their vision being impaired because the hair is just growing at rapid rates. It grows at around 1 centimetre per second, which is an incredible amount of hair growth. So we need to make sure that we are on the ball with the scissors, the comb, the steel brush, just to make sure that we are trimming them. Yeah, you will be looking after one werewolf, yeah, of course. We house around 5 werewolves on Ward 12, and there are 5 creature care specialists on the ward. Yeah, 1 for each werewolf, because it is a task which requires a lot of specialised help. So yeah, it's a task where you will be one-on-one with them. Yeah, if there are any signs of aggression, you can locate the Forest Fairy, which will be on the ward with you. They have magical spells that they can cast just to relax the werewolf. It's very rare that they do get aggressive, but of course you can understand the frustration that they are obviously going through at this time of year with their hair getting tangled and clogged, and yeah, it's very sad. So these are long-standing patients. They're with us from the 1st of October until the 31st, until the full moon. And then they're free to be discharged. Yeah, yeah. For yourself, yeah, there are some calming herbs that you can take. We do recommend actually during your first week that you take some of the calming herbs just so you are under, a state of relaxation whilst you are taking the first steps here. Yeah, it can really put your mind at ease just knowing that you have some form of treatment yourself just to put any nerves at ease. But after a week, you shouldn't need any medication and you should be fine to carry out the role all by yourself. Amazing, amazing. Do you have any questions? Yes, so the changing rooms, they're just down that corridor behind you. If you take the second left, that's where it's located. Yes, and you can use your passkey. Have you got your passkey, by the way? Okay, yeah, you can just collect that at reception when you start your shift because it is coming up to 12 a.m. So you will be starting at the Pumpkin Ward 4, shortly. Yeah, so just collect your passkey from reception and you'll be able to swipe on any door and you'll be able to be allowed into the ward. Yep, that's a good question as well. If any of the patients do need access to the toilet, a minimum of 2 creature care specialists need to assist the creatures to the toilet at one time, just obviously in case something happens to yourself, you may fall over. We need to ensure that you and the creatures are all safe. So a minimum of 2 creature care specialists are needed to assist the creatures to the toilet facilities. Yeah. Yeah. There are toilets located on every ward, and for toilets that you can use, there's one on every single corridor. Yeah, we are very big here at making sure that our staff and our patients are all looked after. Amazing. Have you got any more questions? Yes, so your initial contract here is for 3 months, and during the first 3 months you will be under a performance review, and your senior creature care specialist will be reporting directly to myself, and then after 3 months we will evaluate your progress, and if we are happy with what you've been doing, we will offer you a permanent position here. Yeah, around 80 to 90% of those during the first 3 months pass the probation period and they're offered a permanent role, so you've got a good chance of being here for a long time. Yeah, and your previous experience working with the Wailing Witches and Skeletons will definitely help. You're a very, very professional, kind looking person, and I've definitely noted everything. Amazing. I'll just type that up. It's just confirmation. Yeah, so we look forward to having you here working alongside us, and your first shift does start in 5 minutes, so I'll let you get ready, and if you do have any questions or concerns that you didn't raise, just raise them with your senior creature care specialist that will be shadowing you today. His name is Michael. Yep, and my name, of course, is Mark, so if you do have any questions, you can email me as well if your creature care specialist is unable to answer. Perfect then. Amazing. Well, I'm really looking forward to having you working here with us. You've made a very good first impression with all of us here. Great. Well, yeah, I'll let you get cracking then, and yeah, lovely to meet you. Bye.